Hey guys, it's Nick. Welcome to another episode of Team Minus 365. In today's episode, I'm going to be covering all the updates from Microsoft in June of 2022. If you followed my update videos in the past, you know I focus in on what's relevant to the MSP space, blocking out all the noise from the 100 or so announcements that come from Microsoft each month. Getting into it here, I'm going to start off with Microsoft Teams as I usually do. The first two are pretty straightforward here. The first one's related to chat bubbles on iOS and Android. You can see that from the screenshot on the right-hand side there. This is just a new feature for users that are experiencing the mobile version of Teams. They're able to dismiss those or turn them off altogether if they want to. This will be out mid-June, be complete by late June, so likely already seeing that by the time you watch this video. The other one here was a popular feature for a lot of users, Teams Chat with Self. Again, very straightforward. You're able to just start up a chat with yourself and write in notes or however you want to use that. A lot of users were excited just to have the ability to do that versus having to pivot to OneNote or another note taker or use it for a variety of ways. Other users are not going to be using it whatsoever. So just wanted to mention it here because it is popular with a certain audience. This will, again, just like the last announcement here, happen mid-June, be complete by late June. So you should be likely able to do this by the time you watch the video. Next one here is related to being able to join a Teams meeting by meeting ID and passcode. New feature here, you can see within the screenshots you have the meeting ID and passcode in the Teams meeting invite that you send out to your users, and then they're able to join, as you can see on the right hand screenshot, with that meeting ID and passcode there versus having to do other methods of joining. So just giving them another way to perform this action. Obviously it's not the easiest experience as far as what you can do as far as click to join, but this is mostly driven for external users as well too. This will happen in early July and be complete by mid-July. Viva Topics in Teams, this is a direct integration here. If you're familiar with Viva Topics, it's pretty new for Microsoft, but it has a lot of learning and insights, AI, to give users a lot of insights within their organization or who they're collaborating with. This is giving you the ability to basically hashtag or mention a topic, and that gives the other corresponding user, as you can see in the right hand side screenshot, some more information about that and easy clickable ways to get more information as well too if they want to investigate further. Again, if you don't know much about Viva Topics, it's something that you can look up. Otherwise, you can kind of ignore this announcement for now. This will happen late June, be complete by late July. Next two here we have for Microsoft Teams. The first one's related to e-signature approval request creation on mobile. So if you're familiar with this experience, and it's an integration with third-party apps like DocuSign and Adobe Sign that you have to have set up within the Approvals app within Teams that allows you to create these workflows for e-signature requests, for approvals and things of that nature. Some of you may be adopting this today. I figure most of companies are just starting to do this because it's pretty new for the most part. But this is giving you the ability to create those requests on the mobile experience as well too, which previously wasn't available. They have, as you can see within the mobile support rollout there, kind of a wave of features coming out, but most of them will be completed by the mid-August timeframe as well. You also have this new app being published called Updates within Microsoft Teams, which is like an ITSM. At least I feel like it's an ITSM-like application that they're publishing here. The name isn't great. I was honestly confused the first time I saw that, and there's a lot of commentary if you go look up some of the blog posts around it that it's kind of confusing as well too. But overall, it's got some interesting features, I feel like, for even incident tracking and reporting, and they have a lot of out-of-the-box templates that you can create as well too. It's worth checking out. It's GA. It might help with some smaller clients that have workflows that you want to adopt, or just smaller workflows that you can use for these updates as well too. You might find a creative purpose for it. So definitely would go check it out, but it is available right now if you go look in the Teams App Store. This other one here has been around actually for a while, the Speaker Coach. This has been available within Microsoft PowerPoint, but it's coming into Teams as well too while you're giving a presentation. It allows the user to see certain recommendations based off of their presentation skills and their speaking as well. Like you can see in this screenshot, it's telling them to use less filter words like and and it gives them kind of a graphical view of that input as well too, which is pretty cool. I haven't personally used this, so not exactly sure of the accuracy or what kind of recommendations are given that would make it fulfilling for me to continue to use within my presentations. but I think it's interesting and probably pretty cool for users to try out, power users within your organization as well. This will happen in early July and be complete by late July. Additionally, here, before I move on, I'll link some more additional documentation in the blog post that I'll supplement with this video as well. Next, shifting into Exchange here, this first one's related to the feed on Microsoft Mobile and Outlook as well too on the search page, just giving the user more insights, kind of some more AI, just like Viva Topics does as well too, where they may get derived some information to choose who to send emails to based off of the collaboration recently, or if they're collaborating on documentation, it might be advantageous for them to see that, to follow up via email. So just more insights for the users here as well. So we'll have it mid-June and be complete by early August. Shifting into SharePoint here, you may have some customers that are still on SharePoint 2013 as well. So Microsoft created this Microsoft assessment tool for SharePoint 2013 to help provide recommendations or an assessment just to see what it would take to get into SharePoint Online, or any limitations that you may have with what they have set up today in 2013. Likely you're using a third-party tool to migrate from on-prem to the cloud like BitTitan or something like that, but this might help with those insights, and it is a free tool that you can use, and that'll happen in early June, so likely you can start tapping into this today by the time you're watching this video. The other one here, just nice to have, I feel like, as far as this SharePoint and OneDrive external sharing one-time passcode email that they use to send to users. I've personally had problems with this in the past for non-delivery or going to junk mail on third parties like Gmail. So they updated it here to the no reply at notify.microsoft.com instead of the reply at sharepointonline.com, and they believe that'll help the delivery of those as well too. So you may have whitelisted this or done something within your customer organizations because they've complained about not getting these one-time passcodes potentially. So just note you may have to make changes there, or just kind of look out for these to make sure that they're getting delivered. Again, that'll happen early June, so likely already within the organizations today. Shifting into the final section here, Microsoft Admin, just a couple of updates here. The first one is related to dynamic groups and nested groups within them. It's an interesting one, I feel like, just because we've been familiar with that with on-prem Active Directory as far as nesting goes. We've always had a flat hierarchy within Azure AD, and that's not really changing with this, but it's giving you some more flexibility to stack groups within other groups, meaning that if you have a dynamic group, you can add users based off of other group memberships, which previously wasn't available. Dynamic groups, if you're not familiar, allow you to use queries within your Azure Active Directory instance to populate those users so that you can do this more dynamically like the name says, versus having to manually add users when they onboard to an organization. You can use other things like attributes like their departments or something like that to help facilitate their entry and exit actually into other things like their Teams channels and SharePoint sites and things of that nature. It's available in public preview today, so maybe you might start seeing that. Requires an Azure AD P1 license as well too, so if you're not on Business Premium or you don't have that standalone, you're not likely to be able to use that, just as a heads up from a licensing perspective, but could be something to help administrative and reduce operational overhead. The other one here I like a lot, which is the Temporary Access Pass, or TAP, or is the Azure Active Directory. It's been in preview. Many of you have been using this as well too. But TAP is something that you can use widely for adopting a passwordless environment. Many of you are doing that today in your customer environments for increased security, as well as reducing help desk calls and things of that nature. But this is widely used, I feel like, today when you talk about the initial onboarding, when you have a passwordless environment, when you think about Windows devices, and doing the Azure AD join as well too. This allows them to use that temporary password without having to establish a password and then remove it and go passwordless. So it reduces a lot of that overhead. The other major benefit is obviously just users who forget their second factor or lose that in some way, whether that's their FIDO key or they got a new phone and they have their authenticator app is now gone and they don't have any of their secondary factors they can tap into again. It's a good way for them to securely reestablish that access, especially in a remote environment as well too. So I'll link again that information in my blog post, but something that I would definitely check out. That is in GA as well too, so you can start checking out within Azure Active Directory. Final one here, NC is constantly evolving here, and this one is a more frustrating one, especially for everybody who's been putting their head to the ground, getting everybody into NCE. They originally announced that they're going to auto-convert everybody starting in July 11th at the end of those legacy CSP subscriptions into NCE, and now they've changed that to say that they'll just keep renewing until legacy CSP indefinitely. So it's kind of good and bad. I guess the bad is like if you had already been moving everybody to NC, if you've done nothing, actually, you would be kind of benefiting to a certain degree because you're not in these contracts with all this liability. But the opposite end of it, obviously, is that there's two other impending events, which is the incentives going away in January of 2023. We still have some time for that. The larger one, in my opinion, is the fact that net new subscriptions still have to go to NCE. So no matter what, you're going to have customers that may stratify both legacy and NCE, or you may have to have that conversation of NCE if you haven't yet, just because they want a new subscription. And that may be a good time to have it, but it's kind of inevitable at the end of the day. And likely they're doing this just because they haven't had much adoption, and that's just a guess, but I would guess so based off the feedback that I've been getting from a lot of MSPs as well. So just keep all this in mind. You still have to move net new to NC, so you can choose to start moving and keep converting from legacy to NC, or you could choose to wait till you figure out what they're going to do or when they're going to establish the announcement for the hard move again, but just a very fluid situation. So this is all the announcements that I wanted to provide today. Again, I'll have a blog post supplementing this, and I do also have white labelable content if you guys want to subscribe for that. You can go to the Microsoft Updates page on my blog, and you can sign up for that as well too. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. Otherwise, like or subscribe if you guys want to see more content around Microsoft in the MSP space. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.